In the heart of a lush, green valley, nestled between two rolling hills, lay a tiny village called Willowbrook. The village had no grand landmarks, just a scattering of stone cottages, a small chapel, and a single winding dirt road. It was here that Edith, an old woman of 84, had spent her entire life. Edith's home was a simple cottage, with a roof of moss-covered tiles and a garden that had once bloomed with every color of the rainbow. These days, however, the garden was overgrown, and Edith rarely ventured out. She spent most of her time in her rocking chair by the window, staring out at the hills and feeling forgotten by the world.
"I've wasted my life,"
Edith would whisper to herself. Her husband had passed decades ago, and her children had moved to the city, chasing opportunities far from Willowbrook. She felt like a relic of the past, with nothing left to offer. One brisk autumn morning, there was a knock on her door. Startled, Edith shuffled over to open it and found a young girl standing there, clutching a basket of apples.
"Hello, Mrs. Edith.
The girl chirped.
I'm Clara. My family just moved here. My mom said to bring you these apples and to ask if you could tell us about the best way to store them for winter."
Edith blinked, taken aback.
"Why would I know about that?"
"Mom said you're the wisest person in the village."
Clara said matter-of-factly. Edith laughed for the first time in months.
"Wise, am I? Well, come in, child. Let's see what we can do with those apples." Over the next hour, Edith showed Clara how to sort the apples, how to wrap them in paper to keep them fresh, and how to make a simple spiced preserve. As they worked, Edith found herself telling stories from her youth, of the harvest festivals, the dances in the village square, and the days when her garden had been the envy of Willowbrook. When Clara left with her basket, Edith felt something stir within her. That evening, as she looked out at the hills, she decided she would tidy up her garden the next day. Word spread quickly about Edith's wisdom. Soon, villagers began stopping by to ask for her advice, on everything from baking, to planting to mending clothes. Edith found herself teaching the children how to sew buttons, showing young mothers how to make remedies from herbs, and sharing tales of the village's history with anyone who would listen. The garden, once neglected, bloomed again under Edith's care. She planted daisies, marigolds, and lavender, filling the air with color and fragrance. Villagers often came by to sit with her in the garden, drawn not only by the flowers, but also by Edith's warmth and stories. One day, Clara's mother stopped by with a small loaf of bread.
"Edith, you brought so much life back to this village," she said. "We all thought you'd given up, but you've reminded us of what makes Willowbrook special."
Edith smiled, her eyes misty.
"I thought my life was over. I thought I had nothing left to give, but you've all shown me otherwise."
As the seasons changed, Edith's home became the heart of the village. Children played in her garden, young couples sought her blessings, and everyone came to her for a kind word or a bit of advice. One evening, as the sun set over the hills, painting the sky in hues of gold and crimson, Edith sat in her rocking chair, watching the village buzz with life. She no longer felt forgotten or useless.
"I've lived a good life," she whispered to herself, a peaceful smile on her face. "And I'm still living it."
And in the small village of Willowbrook, Edith became a legend, not because of wealth or fame, but because she had found joy in her simple life and shared it with those around her.